Hi, this is Susan Sackett.
Hi, this is Fred Bronson, Susan Sackett's friend and co-writer with her on Star Trek episodes.
And you're watching Humanist Trek.
And you're going to find out a lot more about Ménage à Troi than you ever thought possible.
Hey everyone, this is Eugene Roddenberry.
Dr. Mohammed Noor.
Hi, this is Susan Sackett.
This is Fred Bronson.
Madam Nimoy, Leonard Nimoy's son.
This is Leonard Crowfoot.
This is Dr. Aaron McDonald, Star Trek Science Advisor and Lieutenant Commander McDonald on Star Trek Prodigy.
And you're listening to
Humanist Trek.
Humanist Trek.
You're listening to Humanist Trek,
the Humanist Trek podcast.
And you're listening to
Humanist Trek,
a fabulous, fabulous show.
Enjoy.
And don't worry, you can do your Temporal Mechanics 101 homework later.
So Picard hails the Ferengi ship, and Tog says that so good to meet you. Wait, hang on, sorry.
Did your gummy just hit?
No, I didn't do gummies today.
I didn't either.
Perhaps I could use this as an excuse to go to those far-off planets with little polka-dotted people if necessary, and be able to talk about love, war, nature, God, sex, all those things that go to make up the excitement of the human condition.
This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
Welcome aboard.
Jean-Luc Picard to the starship Enterprise.
You want to review your rapid progress?
That nonsense is centuries behind us. To the starship Enterprise.
Oh, yeah?
That is enough, damn it!
Tempo, mon capitan.
To the starship Enterprise.
You can't deny that you're still a dangerous, savage child race.
Of the planet Earth.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
Nuchnech, and welcome to Humanist Trek. It's a comedy Star Trek podcast about the humanism in Star Trek. I'm Sarah Ray.
And I'm Allie Ashmead.
And we have a spectacular episode lined up for you today. Joining us today are Fred Bronson, is Billboard's foremost chart journalist, author of several definitive music history books, and a prolific TV writer behind major live events like the American Music Awards and Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. And friend of the show, Susan Sackett, was Gene Roddenberry's personal executive assistant during the TOS movie era, associate producer on Star Trek The Next Generation, and a writer who helped shape the Star Trek universe both on screen and in print. Together, they form a writing partnership that produced the episode we're here to discuss today. Welcome to the show, Susan Sackett and Fred Bronson.
Yay!
Thank you. Thanks, Allie.
Thank you so much for being here and chatting with us. So let's get to know you a little bit better. If I read my Star Trek history correctly, this particular saga, this friendship begins with you, Fred. How did you meet Gene Roddenberry and get yourself swept up into the world of Star Trek?
Well, the first time a friendship did not form. I was 18 years old.
Wow.
I was in college and writing for my college newspaper right away as a freshman. And I went to the entertainment editor and said, and by the way, this is season 1. I said, I'd like to interview Gene Roddenberry. And she said, if you can get an interview with Gene Roddenberry, we'll run it. So I called the office. They didn't know me from anybody else. Mm-hmm. And I got the interview. And I went over to the office. I was in the outer office about to go inside, and a jackhammer went off outside. I thought, that's going to ruin everything. It turns out it was not a jackhammer, and this is not a joke. It was my heart.
Oh.
Literally the only time in my life my heart was pounding. Wow. I am about to go in and meet Gene Roddenberry. But then a few years later, I went to work at NBC. I was a publicist for 12 years there. And first thing that I worked on with Gene was Questor, which became the Questor tapes. But we were filming the pilot for a series. And there was a lot of interaction between me and Gene. And then a year later, NBC puts on the animated Star Trek series. Mm-hmm. And my boss, Hank Rieger, knowing that I'm a major Star Trek fan, assigns me to the show. Wow. I treated it like the second coming of Star Trek, which it was, but I treated it like a prime time show. And I did I said a lot of interviews for Gene. And so, we had lunches, and it just developed organically. It wasn't like some plan I had,
Yeah.
to get to know him. It just through my work.
Yeah.
And then 1974, which was the second year of the animated series, he had an assistant, Ralph, who didn't want to move with Gene to another studio. Ralph worked at Warner Brothers, and he would lose his seniority. So the short version is I sent Susan, but I think the truth is, and she can tell you more, she actually interviewed for a different job.
Well, I think Majel was looking for somebody to assist her at Lincoln Enterprises. And she was the one that suggested that, I would be a little bit overqualified for something like that, and that I should talk to Gene about a possible opening because Ralph was leaving. And so I did, and the rest was history. I met him actually on his birthday. I think it was his 53rd birthday.
Yeah, you started on his birthday.
His birthday's in there somewhere. Anyway.
Susan, he asked you a question in the interview, are you a Star Trek fan?
Oh, yeah, no, I said, I think I've seen the show. May have seen it a few times, yeah. I was a raving fan, but, I was keeping my cool.
Yeah.
My heart didn't jackhammer, but it was close. And the rest was history. I mean, I was delighted to be able to have that interview. It was at his home because he was working out of his home office. The studio had said bye-bye. And the next day, I had like a one-day orientation, and Ralph, took off, and that was it. And I was totally immersed in whatever he was working on, which I think he was writing a book or something. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, it was all very fast. And that was how it happened.
Yeah.
So when we celebrated Gene's birthday, which we did many years, we were also celebrating Susan's anniversary of going to work for Gene.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How did you two meet and start writing together? How did that come about?
Well, it was June of 1970. I had an internship at NBC before I was hired, and that was the final month because it was the semester. And it ended with a press tour where they bring all the press in from around the country. And I was working the press tour as the intern. And it was at the Century Plaza Hotel in Los Angeles, up in the presidential suite on the top floor.
Ooh.
And I'm there with my with the other publicist, and there were two women there. And Susan was one of them because she worked at an NBC unit. Was it Disney on Parade?
Disney on Parade. It was they referred to it as an ice show without ice. They had the characters, and they came out and they paraded around and they did all these silly things, sort of like the ice
Susan
skate.
was Minnie Mouse. No. Susan was working in the office, and we just started talking, and the friendship. She said, we talked about the ski club at NBC. Did I want to join? I said, well, I've never skied. I never will, but I'll join the club. And
it's okay. I wrote the newsletter. I didn't ski either.
Right,
I wrote their newsletter.
So it developed.
Anyway, we've been friends for like 50-something years. It's over 50 years. It's amazing.
We don't actually say the number because you do the math.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kidding.
Years.
We are what we are. As far as the writing, Susan pitched to Star Trek by herself, season 1, I believe. I pitched season 1 to a producer named Bob Lewin. And I had a story that he liked, but he said, we have another one that's too similar and we can't do both. I will fight for yours. He lost. My script was about, we open on the Enterprise, there are only women on the ship, and they do not remember there were ever any men.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. I do too. I called it the mnemonic enemy because their memories had been wiped. The men had been stolen for breeding stock. So he said, we have this other show. It was Angel 1. and he did not win the fight. They made Angel one. Season 2, Susan and I decided to team up, and since we both did not sell on our own, and like I say, Gene asked us to pitch directly to him. He actually bought our story, but it did not get made. And it was a really good story. Do you want to know what the story was?
Yes.
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 We called it Past Lives. It's going to sound cliche now, but I promise you back then it was totally original.
Mm-hmm.
A Starfleet historian from the future comes back and accidentally causes the death of Picard.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
It was. It's a really good script. But, so Gene bought it. We were paid for the story.
Mm-hmm.
And Maurice the producer, didn't want to make it. But then Michael Piller came in, and we thought, oh, here's our chance. And Michael Piller didn't want to make it. But fortunately, we teamed up, and Michael took our pitches, and we got Ménage à Troi.
Yeah, we were lucky with that. But there has to be a story for Angel every year. And so
right.
We figured that was our
Well, yeah, exactly. We pitched 12 ideas. Today, you would not go in with 12 ideas. You don't go in with one idea because you'd be out the door in 30 seconds if they don't like it. So he listened to 12 ideas, and the first 11 were, no, oh, we're already doing that.
Yeah, right.
We're never going to do that, which they did.
Yeah, we're never going to do a Western.
In
Never.
the holodeck. Never do that. Never do that. Yeah. Our 12th idea was the ransom of Mrs. Troi. And Michael Piller said, yeah, I like that. And we kept talking, and he was a little hesitant. And I don't know why I said it, but I said, look, we all know there's going to be a Mrs. Troi story this year, and we think we have the best one. And Michael said, yeah, you kind of do.
Awesome. Yeah, I did. We did read in your book, Susan, that there had to be a story or a script written for her.
Hey, hold it closer so everybody can see it.
Yes. That's Inside Trek, my secret life with Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry, which you can get from Susan's eBay store, which we'll link in the show notes, of course.
Oh, great.
As usual.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Good.
hey, let's jump into the episode then. It'll be interesting to look back 36 years and see what you might or might not remember. Get ready. The Ferengi are coming to dinner. It's Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 24, Ménage à Troi.
Commander, you'll soon be getting an intruder alert.
What? I got something, sir.
Intruder alert, sir.
It's an old-style starship, sir. Constellation class, heading this way under impulse com.
Number one, kindly take charge of our guests until we have time to decide what we're going to do with them. Sir, number one, keep them out of my way.
So this week we're at Beta Z wrapping up a trade conference, and Picard laments in his log that the Ferengi are here, and he's reluctantly allowed them to board the D for the closing reception. So 10 forward is rockin', and Riker is finishing a 3D chess match against a Ferengi called Nibor, which he closes out with a check and mate. Wes is really impressed with this closing move.
In the background, there's this music going on, and it's an Angolian playing ceremonial rhythms, but really it's just like an alien banging on some wind chimes with a wooden mallet. That's basically what he's doing. But apparently that is the excuse that Nabor uses to say that music was distracting, and that's why he couldn't concentrate on winning.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah.
Nibor is played by Peter Slutsker, which is just a fantastic name. Peter Slutsker, come on. Although he later changed his name to Peter Marks, can't imagine why. And he plays 2 more Ferengi in TNG and another alien in Star Trek Voyager. So we'll see this guy again.
Wow. You've done your research.
Which is crazy because we don't really do a ton of research.
Yeah. Well, writers have no say in who gets to play whom, so it's just
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting coincidence that he appeared later, but they do that. I mean, they did that a lot with.
There's a lot. Yeah.
The Ferengi people who played the Ferengis, they get to be seen again and again. So
yeah, when you like somebody, you bring them back.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
Picard and Data are chatting with their Betazoid host, Ritan Grax, played by Rudolph Willrich, who we will also see again in Deep Space Nine and Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of toast to his success despite inviting the Ferengi. And here we hear the first claim that Betazoids can't read Ferengi, despite Troi having been able to sense them empathically in 3 previous episodes. And so Trek nerds love to argue about shit like this, right? You know, and like Star Trek today has teams of people who check against like what is canon and what have we done before.
Continuity too, yeah.
What was it like back in the old days? Was there any expectation for that, or you just kind of go with what the script needs?
They weren't concerned so much with canon as they were with, you know, continuity within the story. And, you know, there's a whole list of things that were a little bit off, like when they beam and they're sitting and then they beam and they're standing and things like that. You know, basically, I don't think there was so much concern about canon as there is today.
My memory is that I didn't make that up. We didn't make that up. That, but you know, I'm sure you're correct. I could swear that we thought that had been established, and maybe it wasn't. But I think Susan and I had both seen every episode to date of every, you know, show, every series, and I felt like we knew, you know, really well.
Yeah.
When I know we're not talking about my animated episode today, but when I wrote it, I purposely put, today we'd call them Easter eggs. I put a whole bunch of things in that were reference to the original series. And the reason I did that, because I thought if I put references into all these other episodes, I'm going to get listed a lot in B. Joe Trimble's Concordance.
Yes. That's amazing.
True.
That's a good reason.
Yeah. So I had callbacks to several like Friday's Child. And, yeah.
I'm going to have to listen back to our episode, Allie, and see if we caught any of those.
Yeah.
Check with me and I'll grade your.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do a quiz.
Okay, cool. So Lwaxana and her daughter, Deanna, are having dinner together, and they're sort of talking telepathically, but Troi kind of scolds her mom's like, you can speak aloud. It's impolite to do that.
Then Lwaxana starts mothering Deanna to death, and there's a part of her that's almost like a stereotype of a Jewish mother. You know, she's always, oh, Deanna, when are you going to find a nice Jewish man and settle down?
Yeah.
Where did we get that from?
Well,
when are you going to give me some grandkids?
Yeah, we have 2 Jewish writers who, you know,
with Jewish mothers.
With Jewish mothers.
You got it.
Yeah. Well, and one of our listeners, Scott from our Discord, wondered how much of writing for Majel is writing to Majel's personality versus how much is creating that personality. Like, so in other words, how much is Majel like Lwaxana, and how much of it is actually acting and performing a character?
Well, she's an actress. I don't know. What do you think, Susan?
I was going to say an actress, but usually all actresses or actors have themselves in the character a little bit anyway, no matter who it is.
And the character was established already, right? So we knew who and to me, she was anti-Mame in space.
Right.
and that's how I think Susan and I wrote her.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
So Mrs. Troi is going on about her daughter finding a man and settling down when Riker walks up, and she has this like, oh yes, what about him look on her face. Like, you guys used to have a thing, right? Any chance we can rekindle that? And for a moment, Deanna looks mortified. But she takes the opportunity to step away with Bill, and we pan over to a couple Ferengi at the bar, Ferric and Tog. And Tog is played by Frank Corsentino, who was Bach in the TNG episode The Battle. So we've seen him before. And he comes back again as another Ferengi in Voyager. And Ferric's voice was instantly recognizable to me as the one Ethan Phillips, who we all now know as Neelix on Voyager.
Yeah.
But he plays several characters too, not just this one.
Ferric finds Lwaxana repulsive, and Tog finds her exotic. And he's already thinking like a Ferengi. He's thinking, how can I use this to make some money? Basically to read their competitors' minds. So he goes over to Lwaxana and introduces himself as Damon Tog and asks to join her, but she's already trying to get away from him. And she hurries over to see Jean-Luc. But Jean-Luc kind of brushes her off because he knows he does not want any part of that drama that she brings.
So we definitely meant this to be a comedy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think one of the funniest lines in the show, and we wrote it, so, what do I know? But I think one of the funniest, it's subtle, but one of the funniest lines in the show is what you just described. And Picard wants to get away from her. And he says, we were just going to show Wright and Grax the new door mechanisms.
The air turbo lift.
So good.
I thought that was one of the funniest lines in the script.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. She's trying to get away from the Ferengi, and then Picard's trying to get away from her. So it's very comical.
Yeah.
Tog is telling her that he desires her, and which is what she's done to Picard.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a full circle.
Right. Oh, I love it.
A little bit of a chase.
And I love this too. She lights him up, screams loud enough for everybody to hear, makes a big old scene. I'm not for sale, you toad-faced troll, and storms out. So good. And then Ferret comes up and he's like, well, you made an idiot out of both of us now. Can we go?
Oh, but that makes him want her even more.
Yep.
Lwaxana Troi of Beta, I believe. I am Damon Tog of the Ferengi vessel Kraton. May I join you?
I was just going to see Captain Picard. Excuse me. Oh, Jean-Luc! Jean-Luc, come have a drink with me. Tell me what you've been up to.
Perhaps later, Lwaxana. Mr. Data and I were about to show Wright and Grax the new door mechanisms on the aft turbo lifts, if you'll excuse us.
Worf and Troi do a walk and talk on the way back to her apartment, and Worf has heard the glorious tale of how Lwaxana admirably handled the Ferengi. Thankfully, they've departed now, and Worf leaves as Troi goes inside to find her mother resting on the couch. And she's still annoyed about this Ferengi incident. She's like, can you believe that dreadful little creature? I mean, I'm the daughter of the fifth house, holder of the sacred chalice of Reese. Like, how dare he? And Deanna's like, Mom, the sacred chalice of Reese is a dusty old pot with mold growing in it.
Lwaxana starts in on Deanna again about, are you happy? I want you to be happy. And of course, Troi is like, I am happy. I love my work. I love being on the ship. And of course, Lwaxana is like, well, what about a family? When are you going to give me some grandbabies?
Right.
And, Troy's like, someday I will get married. But right now, this is, what I'm doing.
It's my family. The ship, the crew members, they're my family.
Yeah, and they really are.
Which is true. They are family.
Yeah, and I don't think this sunk in for me until just now rewatching for this show is like, this is a really brilliant reflection of that sort of traditional family generation and their children whose values are just not quite the same. And it's a reflection of women shrugging off traditional roles and putting themselves and their career and their needs and their wants ahead of, I have to get married and have a family and do the traditional 36 years later, I just got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, Mrs. Troi tries to bring up Riker again, but they're already headed into an argument. So Lwaxana is like, fine, we can't talk about this. And she leaves. And in the ready room, a B story presents itself as Wesley, Geordi, and Data are telling Picard and Riker about how they've boosted some system efficiency by 11%. And Wes is trying to share the credit, but Geordi and Data make it clear that Wes was instrumental in this improvement. And that leads us to learn that Wes's Academy entrance exam scores are in. And he did great, and now he's going to be taking the oral exam, and that's the last step to being admitted into the Academy. And so I wanted to get your perspectives here on, some fans love to hate Wesley. And during this rewatch, we have come down pretty solidly in the pro-Wes camp. We love Wes.
Absolutely will defend him with my life. I absolutely adore that kid.
Yeah.
And we made a statement like not a few episodes ago that kind of ticked people off because I'm like, if you don't like Wesley, fuck you, because they hate him.
Fans love to pontificate about how he's a Mary Sue character and that it's unrealistic or unbelievable that he's the one that finds the solutions or that it makes the adults look incompetent or inept. We disagree. What do you all think about how Wes was written, not necessarily just in this episode, but throughout his character arc?
I liked him. He was supposed to be a sort of a mirror image of Gene when he was young.
Yeah.
And, he was not set out to be, the savior of the world or of the Enterprise. He was a clever kid. And I think Gene saw a lot of himself in this character. And that was why he spent time developing the character. And I read somewhere that he gave him his first lieutenant wings or something at the end of the episode.
Yeah,
he did.
He felt so strongly about how well he did.
His ensign bars. Yeah, I was going to ask you, were you there for that? Or I heard, and this is a rumor, but there was a ceremony where he gave him his ensign bars and Colin Powell, General Colin Powell was there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes,
Yeah,
Colin
I read
Powell.
about it, but I don't
Yeah.
remember seeing him. We didn't see him, did we? We didn't.
We did not, but a couple of funny stories about that. Well, one is we asked Gene, we haven't got to this yet. We asked Gene if we knew Gene wanted to promote Wesley, and we said, well, can we do it in our episode? And he said yes.
Oh.
And although we were on the set every day, we were not there for when Gene walked on. I wish we were, and did that ceremony. Gene's middle name is Wesley.
Right.
Oh,
right.
And,
I never made that connection.
and so all those people who hated Wesley didn't, they should have take a step back and think, that's Gene. That's, like Susan said, that's young Gene. Susan, do you want to tell me your middle name?
Well, my middle name is Deanna.
Mhm.
And so we decided that we would kind of sneak our middle names in there for characters. And,
Oh my God, I love that. I had no idea.
And also, Wesley was originally going to be Leslie, the daughter of Dr. Crusher.
Right. It was going to be a female character, but that got changed around. A lot of the characters got changed around.
And one of the birthday dinners, we were at a Ritz-Carlton for Gene. We were at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Dana Point, and our waiter's name was Wesley. And I said, Wesley, to our waiter, this gentleman's middle name is Wesley. I think we then went on to tell him about Wesley Crusher. But
sure.
That's awesome. That's a nice bit of trivia that Becca didn't know.
So this meeting disperses, but Picard holds Riker back because this mission that they're heading on is pretty routine. And Picard's like, Counselor Troi had the good sense to take shore leave while on Beta Z. Remember how you guys forced me to take a vacation a few weeks ago? Well, it's your turn. Enjoy. So later, Deanna and Bill are walking hand in hand through the Huntington Library Botanical Gardens, where apparently there's some plant that has a historical significance to their relationship, and they find this plant, and it jingles when you move it. It's a very pretty sound. Very tender moment here as they kind of relive the old days. But as they stand up and embrace for a kiss, in the background, hilariously, we see Lwaxana and Mr. Hom walk across the shot looking for a picnic spot. Just so good. This episode, and I wrote this down in 2 or 3 different places. This episode is such an example of what the comedy of Star Trek should be. When it succeeds, when Star Trek does comedy right, this is what it looks like. And I love it so much.
Credit goes to the director too for a lot of that.
I love that shot too. When she's walking in the background, it was very funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Lwaxana being Lwaxana and just fussing and she's putting down a picnic blanket and she's like, "Oh, come here," So of course they have to join her for the picnic and the spread that she's got, and she's giving him food that does not look appetizing, but Riker tries it.
I read something about this food.
it's an oxoid. It's oscoid. It
Yeah.
looks like lettuce, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
it ended up being like a leaf of purple kale or
Kale.
something. But what I
Kale,
read
yeah, it was
was,
kale.
Yeah.
according to Ron Moore, Gene tried to put in his rewrite that this piece of fruit was, quote, a long cylindrical fruit with veins growing down the side, which sounds awfully Gene to me.
I don't know that Gene did that. Susan, do you?
No,
I can tell you one thing about rewriting the script. Normally, when you turn a script in, they can ask you to do one rewrite without any additional pay. If they ask you to do more than that, they have to pay you more. We turned it in. They did not ask us. And Susan and I later heard that Rick Berman told Gene this, and I'm too modest to say it, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Rick Berman said to Gene, "This is one of the cleanest scripts we've ever seen." So we were not asked to do a rewrite, but they did They did some rewrite.
The staff gets involved, and they,
yeah,
Melinda, is it Melinda?
Melinda.
Snodgrass?
Yeah.
She did a few scenes, and everybody had a little hand in it.
Sure,
basically
there was, but very, very light. There's a lot of our first. If you read our first draft, there's a lot of that on the screen.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Great. Yeah,
and I don't know if I ever told you this, Susan. I always wondered when Rick said that to Gene, if he thought maybe Gene wrote the script instead of us, which did not happen. We wrote it.
I don't think he would have thought that. He wasn't
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, but we did write the script.
He must have liked it.
Yeah. In fact, they gave us 10 days to write the script, and I was going to be away 5 of them. So we wrote it in 5 days.
Wow. Yeah.
You have an incredible memory. I don't even remember that.
Yeah. I was going to Seattle, and we had to write it in 5 days, which we did.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. I don't know how y'all remember 36 years ago.
Same.
I had lunch yesterday.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It was it was made of oscoid and Uda berries.
Yes,
right.
Both of which names we made up.
Uda. So okay, Uda berries.
Yeah.
That's cool.
My favorite line is where she says, "I saw some Uda berries over there. Go pick some."
Yeah,
just gives him an order.
She literally gives Mr. Hum a basket and tells him to go away and pick some. Mr. Hum has gone off, so it's just Riker and Troi and Lwaxana. And of course, Troy's telling her to just stop. Okay, just behave yourself. And just as Riker is telling Troi to try the oscoid, a Ferengi beams in with a bouquet of flowers. And Riker's like, "What are you doing here? I thought the Ferengi ship Kraton left hours ago." But Tog is there to try to get Lwaxana to help him because he can't get her out of his mind.
And I love this bit too. She calls him Demon Tog or whatever.
Or whatever you're called.
Yeah, demon.
She's upset that he's even there. And she tells him to go back to his ship. And he says, "Well, returning to my ship is exactly what I'm going to do." And he beams all of them back to his ship.
And then the comedic beat. Mr. Hom walks in like, "Where'd everybody go?"
I love Mr. Hom.
That was in the script. I mean, the director Rob did a great job, but that was in the script.
Amazing.
That Mr. Hom's final moment of that.
Yeah.
Oh, after that awful little Ferengi insulted me, I needed to center myself. Can you imagine that dreadful little creature talking to me like that? Doesn't he realize that I am the daughter of the 5th house of Beta Zed? Holder of the sacred chalice of Reeks.
The sacred chalice of Reeks is an old clay pot with mold growing inside it.
Oh, well, perhaps one day when you're older and wiser, you'll understand.
They wake up in a holding cell on the Ferengi ship as 2 Ferengi place a somewhat different version of 3D chess outside. The one we have, the one they played on the D, is the 3 boards with the attack boards that move. This is just 3 complete chessboards stacked on top of each other. So a little different variation. And Riker wakes up first and checks on everybody else. And he tries to call the D, no success. And then he tries the force field, and now they know they're awake. So they notify Tog that these guys are conscious. And in another great moment, the Troys are beamed right out of their clothes.
We did ask Gene, can we have nudity at that lunch we took him to, and he said, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, we had already established that Betazoid weddings involve nudity, so there you go.
Also, Ferengi women do not wear clothes.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the line was, they're not deserving of clothing, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very women are less than in this society. So Tog steps into view, and Lwaxana grabs some folded bed sheets for them to cover up with. And he starts talking again about how he wants her and wants to use her powers for profit. And Ferric adds in the threat of Deanna's safety, but Tog's like, we don't have to do all that. This will be fine. Don't you worry. And this part I love too. Throughout this episode now, the Troys are having telepathic conversations back and forth, which is just fantastic. And Deanna's worried, but Lwaxana thinks she can manipulate this little troll. And verbally, she suggests they discuss this alone. So Tog sends Ferric away, and they beam Deanna back to the cell. Then Tog leads Lwaxana into the next room, and he's like, now let us talk. And he presses a button, and the couch in the wall turns into a bed. And she, throughout the whole thing, she's just like choking down bile. Like, what have I agreed to? What did I get myself into?
So good. In engineering, we've got the gang, my favorite three, Geordi, Wesley, and Data. And I love their relationship. And they're just chatting about engineering stuff, but also talking about Wesley's future. They're congratulating him on passing his Starfleet written exam, but Wesley's like, yeah, but I still got to pass the oral exam. But they feel like, you're going to be fine. And then when you get back, you're going to be the best ensign in the fleet. But then they realize, hey, wait a minute. There's no guarantee that he's going to be assigned to the Enterprise. And he didn't even think about that. But they're like, well, don't worry. Picard can specifically request you to come back. But then Wesley's like, well, what if he's not commanding the Enterprise when he graduates? He didn't think about that either. So it's like it's all like sinking in. Hey, I'm growing up.
Yeah.
Got to do some adulting.
Yeah, he's having some serious feelings about leaving his Starship family.
Yeah.
Sure. You grew up there.
Yeah. And haven't we all felt that at one point or another?
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Data, of course, the vessel of humanity, speaks the humanity here. Isn't that part of the human experience, growth and change? And yeah, it is, but it's not that simple.
It's
still a whole
hard.
lot more
It's
complicated.
Still hard.
Yeah.
There's lots of feelings involved.
Back on the Ferengi ship, Deanna's back in her dress now, and she and her mother are able to communicate telepathically across the ship. So she's getting updates from her mom and passing that along to Bill. Riker's got a plan to get out of this cell, and he starts shit-talking the Ferengi playing chess outside. And Nabor gets beat again, and the other Ferengi leaves, and Riker's poking the bear here. Come on, I can kick your butt. I could kick your butt in even less moves than I did last time. And so he's kind of verbally giving the moves. Meanwhile, Tog is pouring out drinks, and Lwaxana is doing that thing where you're at somebody's house and they've served you the nastiest food you've ever tasted, but you're trying to, not let it show. He tries to pull her dress off of her shoulder, and she grabs his hand maybe a little too forcefully. And then she got to overcompensate. Oh my, what strong hands you have. Just so good. And he's like, I can't resist you. I got to have you. And she's like, well, then don't resist.
Oh, I know. And she's like, that scene was just so cringeworthy, and it's very good and very comedic. But she puckers up and kisses him, even though she doesn't want to.
There's an Easter egg in there, by the way.
Okay.
Oh.
She's talking about her previous lovers.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And she mentions Zahn, X-O-N.
Yes. Yes.
Zahn.
Oh, yeah.
Who was going to be the Vulcan in Star Trek The Motion Picture when Leonard Nimoy wasn't going to do it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I don't think anybody ever caught that.
No.
I didn't. Well,
Yeah.
That's a
they're
deep
going to know
cut.
now.
Yeah.
That is a
Mhm.
very deep cut. Very deep cut.
I must admit, when you first approached me aboard the Enterprise, I was intrigued.
You mean revolted?
Perhaps a little. Do you forgive me?
Yes.
Attention Starfleet personnel. Are you tired of endless duty rosters and warp core recalibrations? Introducing Buffer Time, the card game. The only recreational training simulation that teaches you how to manage your work schedule like a true lower decker. Bluff your way past maintenance tasks, dodge unexpected red alerts, and sabotage your friends, colleagues, while keeping that sweet, sweet buffer time for yourself.
Okay, computer, margaritas, frozen, salt.
Visit humanisttrek.com/Modiphius and use code TREK for 10% off. Remember, Starfleet Command neither confirms or denies the existence of buffer time. Simulation not recognized as an official Starfleet training program. Card shuffling speed may vary by species.
Aw, Tendi, look at us. Lower decks, breaching protocol together. Friendship.
We get a quick cut back to the D where Picard and Data talk about this phenomenon. They're studying, and Picard sees the human wonder in it, where Data only sees the numbers. That's a common thing we get. But back in the Ferengi brig, Riker talks his way out of the holding cell to better play this chess match, you know. And meanwhile, Lwaxana is regaling Tog with stories of her husband's, which just makes him jealous. And then she's like, "My, what big ears you have," and starts tracing her finger along the edge of his ear. And this is where we establish that Ferengi ears are an erogenous area, and she's going to give him an ear job called umox. And you people thought my foot fetish was weird.
So umox, did you guys come up with that word as well?
Fred did. Fred came up with that whole concept.
Wow.
It popped. It literally popped into my. I don't know where it came from. I knew we needed to call it something, and umox just popped into my head. I don't know why.
That's amazing.
And that's our contribution to canon.
Yeah,
it's
for
very,
sure.
very Ferengi. And I know it's been used since a lot.
One of our listeners wondered if there was, any trouble with the network or higher ups with the stimulation of an erogenous zone on TV.
There was no network, so yeah.
It was syndicated, so there was no network involved, but Paramount was involved. And they do have broadcast standards, but nobody took it out. Nobody said a word.
Nice.
Nobody said they couldn't be naked. Yeah, I mean, it's an ear, for God's sakes.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it ended up in nothing was censored in the episode. I can tell you that.
I love it.
It's better to be syndicated than to be with a network. You had to be reverent if you said, "Oh my God," you were supposed to be very reverent. And they had all kinds of. You had friends who were in broadcast standards. Fred did, and they had some crazy rules. But when you're syndicated, anything goes pretty much. So
yeah.
But they're still Paramount, the entity of they had broadcast standard. But yeah, Susan's right. My best friend at NBC was head of broadcast standards.
Back in the brig, I don't know what Riker has done to Nibor, but he's knocked him out cold. And now they're trying to figure out how to get some sort of message back to the Enterprise. And meanwhile, Troi is talking with Lwaxana telepathically, saying Tog is occupied. If he were a kitten, he'd be purring. So they go to the computer console and try to access the communications, but it's denied because they don't have a code. And they need it. This transmission would have to be authorized by Damon Tog.
So Lwaxana is going to try to get the code out of him. And back on the D real quickly, their comms are finally coming back online. And when they go to pick up the phone to call Riker on Beta Z is already on the phone calling them because Bill and Deanna have disappeared. The ear job continues back on the Ferengi ship as Lwaxana chokes down the bile in order to flirt with Tog. And As she gets up to make them drinks, she suggests, "Oh, I know a drink that has very stimulating properties. All I need is your code, and I can make your computer make us some drinks." And he's about to do it, and Dr. Ferrick bursts in.
I love how Lwaxana, or you've written Lwaxana to accidentally let it slip that he's repugnant. He says something to her and she says, "Oh, how repugnant." And he says, "What?" And she's like, "I mean romantic. How romantic." So I love that. That's great writing.
Thank you.
He almost gave her access to the entire ship's computer, a security breach worthy of losing your command over. And of course, Lwaxana plays dumb. I was just trying to make drinks, But Ferrick's like, "I'm going to study her. We're going to hook her up to my mind probes and see what makes her tick. And maybe we can figure out what it is about the Betazoid brain.
Brain! What is brain?
That gives them this telepathic ability, and maybe we can use that somehow."
Maybe we don't need her. If we can figure it out, we don't need her.
My, what big ears you have. Has anyone ever told you how attractive they are?
Some females think they are my best feature. No one has ever given me umaks like this before.
Umaks?
There's no translation, but the ear is one of our most erogenous zones.
Back on Beta Z, Worf and a team are searching for any clues to Riker and Troi's disappearance, and the clue that they find is that bouquet of flowers from earlier, and it turns out these flowers are not native, they're from a Ferengi world.
So now they know.
Now we know who.
Yeah, they know it immediately. Back in the ready room, they're just trying to think of where's this Ferengi ship. The Ferengi ship apparently is almost as fast as the Enterprise, and they don't know where she is right now. But they know that Riker is going to try to get some sort of message because he's just clever like that. So they're going to continue to monitor the Ferengi subspace frequencies just in case Riker can get away and figure out a way to get a message to them.
And sure enough, unable to access comms, Riker comes up with an ingenious plan to use the warp field phase adjustment, creating some kind of code in the subspace interference generated by the engines that the D will understand, but the Ferengi will think is just noise.
Right.
Unfortunately, they're running out of time because the mind probe on Lwaxana has started and it's really, really bad. So they leave that room to try to go find and help her. The bridge crew is monitoring Ferengi channels, and Wes doesn't want to leave in the middle of this, but his transport, the Bradbury, is ready to leave, and Picard orders him to go. No lengthy farewells. Good luck. And before Wes leaves, he takes a good, bittersweet look around the bridge, like this is going to be the last time I see these people for a while.
Yeah. And we've seen him grow up a lot since season 1, and I'm thankful that you guys put in a little something for him in this episode.
Can we talk about the Bradbury for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it Ray Bradbury? Is there a link to that?
It is. Yes. So
Sure.
I always thought that they should name starships after science fiction writers. And you could do it alphabetically. The Asimov, the Bradbury, the Clark. But then I got to D and I had a problem. Because my favorite writer of all time is Philip K. Dick.
And
You could not have the USS Dick. Yeah. So we just went with the B. I had actually worked with Ray Bradbury on a couple of things when I was in high school.
Wow.
And so Ray called Gene and said, thank you for...
Yeah, I don't remember that specifically, but...
Ray was very pleased.
Amazing.
Yeah. But we did have some conversations with many of the famous science fiction writers and saw them at conventions. There was Isaac Asimov and not Arthur C. Clarke so much, but I did have some correspondence with him about something, I forget what. And Ray Bradbury, of course, was very close with Gene. They were good friends.
How cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, yeah. I don't know if we didn't get beyond D, but that E.
Well, we were going to get to G, the Gerald, but we didn't.
Oh, right.
Gerald,
Yes.
What an honor to have a Star Trek ship named for you. That's
right? Right.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of the windows on Main Street. I worked at Disney World for over a decade, and and it reminds me a lot of like the names in the windows above on the second story on Main Street, which are like all the fictional companies that Walt and Roy made up when they were buying up land in Florida to try not to let anybody know that it was Walt and Roy buying up land in Florida. So all of those names are like enshrined up there, and some of the Imagineers.
Sarah, what did you do at Disney World?
Oh gosh, I did a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I started out in attractions, and I worked at Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom. Then I went to the main entrance ticketing, and I got to drive the steam train at the Magic Kingdom, which is the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. It is a legit, honest to God steam train that they bought and shipped back from South America. And like you light the fire and boil the water, and it is legit. I can't believe they let me do it. It was that crazy. I worked in the water parks and miniature golf a little bit, ticketing, custodial, attractions, a little bit of that. And then I went to front desks and did some hotel resorts. I was at 6 or 7 different front desks. I did a little bit of everything. And then I left there and went to work for Disney's government, which the artist formerly known as the Reedy Creek Improvement District. And that's a whole episode in itself.
I bet.
Yeah.
I don't know what years you were there, but I had a friend who did many, many jobs. I met him when he was driving the car on the Great Movie Ride.
Oh.
And I'm going to throw out a name. I don't know if you know him. Steve Kittendorf. Does that?
Nope, that doesn't ring any bells.
It's a big park with a lot of employees.
It is. It is like the largest single site employer in the world. So yeah, there's like 60,000 cast members or something. It's crazy. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Wes gets all the way down to the transporter room where his mom hands off a suitcase before he finally realizes that something that he heard in that noise sounded familiar. And he's like, I got to go back to the bridge and finish this. I know what this is.
There was a scene filmed that never made it to air.
Oh,
where it's Wesley and Beverly in her quarters, and she's toasting him with champagne because he's leaving to go. And it was filmed.
Yeah.
But I guess,
cut for time, probably.
For time.
Yeah. That would have been a great, like, just here's your suitcase in the transporter room is not much of a send off.
Not from your mom. Not from your mom.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll assume that it happened off camera.
Sure.
Captain, the Bradbury is hailing us. They can no longer delay their departure.
Mr. Crusher, now. No lengthy farewells. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
On the bridge, the Bradbury is done waiting for Wes, who bursts out of the turbo lift with his hair on fire. And Picard's like, Wes, you're going to miss the bus if you don't leave now. But he's like, I've almost got this thing figured out. So Picard tells the Bradbury just to go ahead and go. And they put that static back on the speakers again. And he has Data isolate this popping sound. And Geordi's like, oh, yeah, that's Cochrane distortions. Every warp engine makes those.
And I'm assuming that's Zephram Cochrane. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But Wesley zeroes in on the pattern. He's like, listen to the pattern. It's the Algolian ceremonial rhythm that was played at the beginning of this episode in 10 Forward. And Data confirms.
What a great way to send a signal, right? To use that repetitive pattern that somebody would recognize. I would have assumed Data. I would have expected Data to pick up on it first. But it's Wesley, and Data confirms that he's correct. Yeah. So now they're able to identify the source and plot an intercept course, and Wes proudly takes his station and punches Warp 8.
On the Ferengi ship, Lwaxana is howling and in pain when Riker and Troi come in and they shoot Ferric and basically tell him to get away from her. Sadly, Pog sneaks up behind them and basically takes their weapons away.
Lwaxana suggests a bargain. Let my people go, and I will stay with you willingly, and even use my telepathy to help you in negotiations. And Riker's like, whoa, hang on, mom-in-law. I can't let you do this. And she's like, I'm a grown-ass woman, and I've made up my mind, and ain't nobody going to tell Lwaxana what to do and not do. But Deanna's, of course, not happy about this. But her mom gives a good convincing speech and then kind of winks at her at the end. So she's scheming. Something's going on here.
Yeah.
She gets Tog to agree to this deal just as the Enterprise rolls up, and he orders Ferric to inform the Enterprise 2 of our guests are ready to return. The other will be staying here at her own request. So Lwaxana takes Tog by the arm, and as they walk away, she tells him, Umox is only the beginning. Wait till you see what I can do with my toes.
I do love that this is knowing that she's scheming, but she loves her daughter, and she's going to do whatever she can to save her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
To my mind, yeah, that was very sincere. She was absolutely willing to do that. But yes, she was also thinking of there's a way out.
Always. We know Lwaxana always has a plan. Riker and Troi are beamed directly to the bridge, and they're fine, but Troi says, my mother bought our freedom, but she doesn't want to stay with him. So Picard hails the Ferengi ship. They've got Tog on the view screen, and he was like, we were just on our way back to Betazoid to return our guests. Picard's like, sure you are. But then the Lwaxana starts in on Picard. It's like, when will you get it through your thick head that it's over between us, Jean-Luc? And this is where more comedy starts.
This whole scene is gold. And Deanna's like, oh, this is good. You have to play along with this. You have to fight for her. You have to get her, fight for her to come back. So Picard very awkwardly starts demanding Lwaxana return because it's not over between them. And Lwaxana's like, oh, so you still care? And Picard starts Shakespeareing all over the bridge, which is great, proclaiming his love. And Tog's like, hey, wait, you didn't tell me that, you and Jean-Luc were a thing, And Lwaxana's like, well, you didn't want to hear about my other lovers. Anyway, sorry, Jean-Luc, I have a new love now. And listen, you have got to stop killing all of my lovers. And Tog's like, wait, what? Hang on.
So with all of the Shakespearean stuff that Picard was spewing, did you choose the particular sonnets that he was saying, or you just said some Shakespeare?
No, we wrote that. Definitely very much on purpose because of Patrick's association with the Royal Shakespeare.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Shakespeare.
it was absolutely, yeah. And to hear him say that was great. Incredible.
Oh, he tears it up. It's so good.
Good.
Yeah. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day and all these other things that he goes into?
Yes. And it fit perfectly because Star Trek, even with TOS, they were always talking about Shakespeare. So
this is the Shakespearean soap opera in space, we often say.
Yeah.
In some ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Picard threatens to destroy the Ferengi ship because if he can't have Lwaxana, no one can. And Lwaxana tells Tog not to be threatened. Fight for her. She tells Picard the only way you'll ever get me back is over Tog's dead body. And Picard's like, okay, that can be arranged. We'll make that happen. Worf, arm all weapons. And if Lwaxana isn't in my arm in 10 seconds, blow him out of space. And then I love this throughout the scene.
Countdown.
Well, Riker and Troi are sitting in the background smirking at each other. And Riker just has this ornery face that he pulls out every once in a while, Frakes.
Yeah.
And it's so good when he does it. So he starts counting down. In between Shakespeare's, he's counting down. And Tog is like, they get all the way down real close. And Tog is like, wait, shit, hang on, beam her back to the bridge. Just as he almost finishes the countdown, Lwaxana appears and has a seat in Picard's lap. And of course, Tog is worried that, maybe this isn't the end. Maybe they'll blow him up anyway or report him to their superiors or whatever. And Picard's like, I'll think about it. And he hangs up the phone.
The second funniest line after the door mechanism is when, under his breath, Picard says, Orb 9. Like, let's get her back as fast as we can.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah, there's there's a moment here where, you know, he's trying to get out of the chair and she's in his lap and he's like, lady, get off of me. And she's like, but wait, no, I want to hear more of your poetry.
I think that another funny line that, I don't know, didn't give Picard credit was when he had to start talking to Lwaxana and saying, it's not over between us. And he was so trying really hard to make it sound real.
Mm-hmm.
But he says, you're mine and I will not let you go. And he really didn't mean it. So.
Yeah, as much as Lwaxana was putting on airs with Tog to try to get him to believe that she was going to go along with his bullshit, Picard had to then do that to Mrs. Troi, too.
Right.
So good.
Thank you.
Later, Wes gets called into the ready room to talk to Picard about this whole missing the bus to the Academy situation. He's going to have to reapply next year, which he intends to do. And Picard says the Academy's loss is their gain. They get Wes for a whole nother year. But Picard has something more on his mind, and he says he can't help thinking that he's saying goodbye to Wes as he is today. And Wes is like, I don't get it. I don't really understand. And Picard's like, well, the Academy has to make you wait. But in light of your service record and all of that, you know, I don't feel it's right to make you wait for the Academy. And he explains that this acting ensign thing is just in title only. In Picard's eyes, he's already a member of the crew. And he grants him a field promotion to full ensign with all the commensurate responsibilities and privileges of that rank. Hip, hip, hooray!
Hooray! Oh, I loved it. I loved it. And of course, this next scene on the bridge.
Yeah.
When Wesley comes in, so Worf announces that Lwaxana has been beamed down to Beta Z. So she's gone.
Much to Picard's relief.
And Picard tells Worf to notify Starfleet that they're en route to the Xanthos system. And they get ready to get underway, and Wesley comes in, and he's in the red uniform. It's like he's no longer a kid anymore, and I'm proud because I love Wesley.
Yes.
But he's got this smile on his face, and he takes his seat, and he takes them out of orbit.
And one thing about that last scene, it's one of the few scenes in the entire series where every cast member is present. They're all, everyone's on the bridge.
Because Beverly's there.
Yes.
Yeah.
For Wesley, they're all there. Yeah.
Oh,
they're all there.
I love it.
I love that kid.
Oh,
and thank you for giving him that scene. That was
I'm glad you love it because there's so much animosity towards him, which I don't understand.
Right.
He's a good kid. He's a good kid.
Yeah.
I will fight everyone on the internet for Wesley.
And we're off to the next adventure.
Boy, I'm sure glad that's over with.
I'll be glad to be relieved of this cargo.
Me too.
It is done, and perhaps just as well.
Yeah, but you know, I learned something today.
I sincerely hope that this is the last time that I find myself here.
You just don't get it, do you, Jean-Luc? You see, of all the species, yours cannot abide stagnation. Change is at the heart of what you are. That is the exploration that awaits you. Not mapping stars and studying nebula, but charting the unknown possibilities of existence.
First, I just want to say, and I've said this before, this is just such a wonderful example of how comedy works in Star Trek. This is just when it hits, it hits, and it's built off of the characters that we know and their relationships with each other, and it's very real and believable and honest, and I love it. You know, the early TNG. When we're just finding our footing, we talked a lot about this in season 1 as we were going through. Like it's still a very militaristic sort of choppy, very strict manner of speaking with each other and just the interpersonal relationships. And now we've really built friendships and bonded, and we have these jokey moments between each other, and it's really believable as an interpersonal thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And not to belabor the point of Wesley, my big humanist takeaway from this episode is Wesley again. And, you know, for a moment, he had to confront the idea of leaving behind his family that is 99.9% chosen family.
Mm-hmm.
Something we weren't really even talking about back then. But as a trans person, you know, a lot of times when queer people come out, you face losing your family. And so we talk a lot about these days of finding your chosen family, and that often that's more important or as important as blood family.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
And even when Geordi tries to comfort him, explaining that the feelings he's having are a shared human experience, something we all face. He faced it when he left his family to go to the academy. It doesn't really help. It's just something that we all have to feel and go through. And the parting really is such sweet sorrow because you're feeling a loss, but also there's a hope that, one day I'll be reunited with this family. And of course, Wes doesn't leave, which I'm thankful for. But in a way, it reminds me of the episode we just recorded this morning, Tin Man, where Tam Elbrun finds his place and his people, which helps Data realize that his place and people is with the Enterprise. So now Wesley knows, like, this is my home. Now more than ever, this is my home. These are my people.
And he gets to wear the red uniform.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get rid of that gray jumpsuit that shows off his junk a little too much.
And at least...
Oh, Sarah.
His eyes are up here.
At least it fastens in the back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think another humanist theme, and I think it's common through a lot of episodes, is the way that they solve problems through their intellect and their cunning and their, how they work together. They know each other so well. Like, they knew that Riker was going to try to get a message somehow. And then they knew they had to play that game with Lwaxana to save her life. And they worked together so well. Instead of using violence to solve the problem, they use intellect instead, which is lovely.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I also liked the relationship between Lwaxana and Deanna. Yes, she is very much, up her ass about finding a man and settling down. But when it comes down to it, she is prepared to make the sacrifices that we do for our kids, like, I will give up so that my child can have and be free. And yeah, that's such a real thing for her to have done.
Yeah, we didn't want her to be one-dimensional. And I think that was a lot on my mind, when we were writing this, there is a real human being. She may be that anti-main figure, but she's bold, she's brass, but she's also a real human being. Well, not a human being, a real
Betazoid. Humanoid.
Yeah.
But you're right. And you did, it didn't humanize her a little bit more to me, this episode, than any other episode.
Would you like to know where the title came from?
Ménage Troi. Sure.
Yeah.
So
that's where
when we went to Michael, it was going to be The Ransom of Mrs. Troi. The pitch was aliens, and we weren't even thinking Ferengi yet. Aliens kidnap Mrs. Troi and they can't wait to give her back. As in The Ransom of Red Chief, the O. Henry story.
Ransom of Red Chief.
But then the title became Peace of Mind, Piece. They wanted a piece of her mind. Peace of mind.
Her mind.
A little on the nose, right?
Yeah. And Michael Pillar said to us, we don't do play on words in our titles. So come up with another title. Susan,
so you came up with another play on words.
Well, Well, there's a story about that. So Susan and I went to dinner at El Torito in Burbank. And we came up with I know.
Right, everything. You remember what you ate?
Yes, you wore blue. I had the chili Rihanna. I don't remember that.
Right, I had the tacos.
But we did not come up with a title at dinner. The best we came up with was My Stepmother is a Ferengi, but we weren't going there. So now we're driving home. Susan and I lived about 5 minutes away from each other, and we're driving home. Susan's behind the wheel. I'm her passenger. And a phrase popped into my head, pas de deux. And I thought, well, no, that's two. Wait a minute. This is more three.
And what else does French have that's three? There's another French phrase.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it's a Ménage à Trois. No, it's Ménage à Troi.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
So, yes. So, Sarah, you're right. It's a play on words. So the next day, Susan went to Gene and said, we had to come up with a new title, and this is what we came up with, and we really like it. And Gene said, yeah, I really like it too. And Susan said, would you write a memo to Michael Pillar that you like the title? He did, and that's how we got the title.
Oh, that's so good. Sometimes you got to use your poll where you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We can be as, like Mrs. Troi. We can,
You're using your resources. That's all.
Exactly. Why not?
Absolutely. All right. Well, before we go then, unless anybody has any further thoughts on the episode or stories you want to tell.
I just appreciate that you guys appreciate it so much. Thank you.
We love it.
We love it. We love Star Trek. We love finding out everything we can about each episode. And and thank you for doing this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, you honestly, you made me appreciate the episode even more to hear you talk.
Oh, good. Good.
Fred brought up a lot of things I'd totally forgotten about because it's 36 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And Fred's got almost an eidetic memory. He reminds me of Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. Yeah, we were having dinner and it was 6:00 and we had tacos.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I wore blue.
Amazing.
I really don't remember what we ate. I assume there were chips and salsa involved, but
chips and salsa, maybe a margarita.
Okay, now I'm hungry.
Time for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, before we go, is there anything that either of you are doing at the moment or have coming up that you want to tell people about or point people to?
Fred's always busy writing. Go ahead, Fred.
Well, for those people in the Coachella Valley, I'm giving a talk on my life with Star Trek on April 29th at the Mazzell Center here. I'm going to talk about a lot of things we just talked about but everything. And what else? I created a radio show for Smokey Robinson that airs on Sirius, talking about his Motown memories.
Oh, wow.
I pick a theme, I pick the music, and I write a script for Smokey. I'm writing a new book, a biography of Thelma Houston, the singer, working with her.
Oh, wow.
And I'm doing a series of celebrity interviews at a restaurant in Studio City called Vitello's. And my guest on June 6th will be Brian Fuller, who created Star Trek Discovery.
Oh my gosh.
And of course worked on Voyager and Deep Space Nine. And so if anyone's a Star Trek fan and they live in the San Fernando Valley in California, look up Vitello's online and you'll see all the information. June 6th there.
Amazing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah.
It is
busy.
Very busy.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm not doing anything special, even though this is a special anniversary for Star Trek, but I do have an eBay store and a website, but the eBay store I've been selling off a lot of my memoirs or memories, I should say, and souvenirs. And,
some great collectibles.
Collectibles.
That are unique and rare.
Some of them are Fred's too, and so we share in them. And check it out.
Okay.
Just go to eBay, I guess, and search under my name. I don't search, so I don't know. I don't need to.
Well, we'll have a link in the show notes to Susan's shop, and we have a partnership with bookshop.org, which is a bookseller that supports local independent bookstores. So I will add all of the Fred Bronson books on there to our As Heard on Humanist Trek list, so you can check them all out there.
Oh my God, thank you. Well, I really appreciate that. Rockin' the Kremlin is the latest one about an American who ran Universal Music in Russia, and a lot happened.
Wow. Interesting.
It's a pretty great story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, let's see. I guess the last thing before we go, and we can speak about this in hushed tones, is what about new Star Trek? And how furious are we that Paramount just does not know what the hell they're doing with this franchise? Sorry, that's my opinion and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of our guests.
As we know, there's new management. I think that's to be seen. I know there's all these stories this week online. It's over, right? They took the sets down. It's over. It's not over.
Yeah, it's never over. It's never
Star
over.
Trek's never over. It lives with us.
No,
Yeah.
there will be more. First of all, if there's no Star Trek, a lot of people are going to cancel Paramount Plus.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot already have.
See?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
There will be more. Will it be year one? I hope so. I mean, I don't think they cast Bones and Sulu for one episode. What do you think?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. They've already
Yeah.
done that. And
Yeah.
didn't TOS go through something similar to where it was going to be canceled and was over?
Okay. Allie, I have this whole idea in my mind. Production meeting, everybody. We haven't had this conversation yet, but I have a whole like Save Star Trek Again campaign in my brain. And brain, what is brain? You know, do we start a let's reach out to all the podcasts?
Got that.
We say that every time.
Said that already once.
And you can't say brain on this podcast without using that.
Brain and brain, what is brain?
Yeah.
From the famous episode Sarah's Brain.
Yes, right. Yes. So for me, Star Trek, will always live in the fans. And I would love, there was a thing on social media recently where somebody was like, you're in charge of Star Trek. What would you do? And I thought about this for a bit. And I thought, okay, first of all, I have a problem with the streaming era, this 10 episode limit nonsense. And like, drop the budget. We don't need high budget special effects. Star Trek has always been about the people and the story. Star Trek is a place.
Give me 24 episodes in a season. I'd be totally happy with that.
And it doesn't have to have the most immaculate sets and special effects and all of that stuff. That's not what Star Trek is. But that aside, I thought, what if, and you'd have to wrest Star Trek from the cold, dead hands of Paramount, but what if you could vest it in a nonprofit? If you take the capitalism out of it, would Star Trek be able to go broader and go bigger and tell stories that if you don't have a network or a streamer or somebody up, putting limits on everything, the fans will find it. The streamers need us more than we need them. That's my thought.
Well,
I don't know how you'd pull it off, but
I don't know. I do know that even if you reduce the budget, it's still millions of dollars per episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So although the nonprofit is a wonderful idea, probably not practical.
No.
Because you would have to have the hugest GoFundMe, in the history of humanity.
Sure.
Yeah. You still got to pay actors.
Yeah, you need the big guns. And, actors and writers, producers and directors get residuals forever.
Mm-hmm.
We're still, we may get a check for $8, but, and I'm not kidding. But, that'll buy you a cup of coffee. So, but we still get 36 years later.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, you need the big guns behind you.
Yeah.
I think, of course, there's a shakeout now with new management at Paramount. We don't know where they're going to go, but Star Trek is the crown jewel, and they're not going to. It won't be gone forever.
And my opinion is they've diluted the concept. I'm not thrilled with too many of, and I don't mean to put it down or put down the producers or directors or whoever's involved, but I don't see this as Gene Roddenberry's dream anymore. I've tried watching some of the newer iterations, and I just can't get into them. I've seen a few that are good, but I'm not overwhelmed with anything, and that I must see this or whatever. I admit I don't get Paramount Plus, and I haven't seen Starfleet Academy. I think it's sad if they've canceled it after only 2 seasons. It takes longer for something to catch on.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, and you think about the Next Generation, and there's 22 episodes in the first season, and we didn't hit the stride until Riker grew the beard, right? So like it took some time to really,
it does take time.
Gel.
It does.
Yeah, and 10 episodes is hard to do that in.
Right.
And these days, you don't get you don't get a chance. You just if it's not
it's a different world, and the whole media, it's very, very different. I do disagree with Susan on. I liked a lot of the shows, and I respect her opinion. Believe me, but I love Lower Decks. I love Prodigy.
Lower Decks is such a love letter to TNG kids. It was so good. Mike McMahon is brilliant. Yeah. And Prodigy
absolutely.
too. Yeah. Yeah.
Prodigy for Voyager and Strange New Worlds. Starfleet Academy, I liked a few episodes. I did not like the ones that were Dawson's Creek. but I
But admittedly, we're not the target audience.
I was going to say
for that kind of show.
Trying to bring in completely different fans, completely different fan base.
Yeah,
But
and you have to build a young fan base because otherwise your audience will just keep shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, Susan, in that you kind of and here we go again, a Disney analogy. I think a lot of what Disney has done since Walt died, like you lose the dreamer, and now it's a corporation.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it was Walt and Roy, it was a man with a dream. And yes, he was trying to make money, absolutely, but also there was that kind of undercurrent of something that we were trying to do that meant more than just the bean count.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of that with Gene too. And we talked about this when we had Rod on, that I think of Gene a lot like Walt Disney, the creative mind, the talent behind the idea. And then once that's gone, once that's not there anymore, then it takes on a different life. And for good or bad, that's just what it is.
Yeah, I think all right.
I have to tell you one thing that I think you'll like appreciate. So I think it was 1990. Susan and I went to see a play with Walter Koenig and Mark Leonard playing adult Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn.
Oh, wow.
Shortly after, we're having lunch with Gene in the commissary.
What'd you have for lunch?
I had the turkey. Well, it was turkey tostada.
Oh my God.
All right.
You seriously have an eidetic memory.
It does.
You could have said anything and we wouldn't. Yeah, we wouldn't.
No, that was my favorite dish at the Paramount Commissary.
Okay. All right.
So it's likely I had the turkey tostada that day. But anyway, we told Gene about this, and I said, I don't know where this came from, but I said, so it's the 20th century, and they're still telling stories about Tom and Huck. And in the 21st century, they'll still be telling stories about Kirk and Spock. And Gene said, and they'll probably do it better than I did. Because that was him.
Yeah.
But then when they actually were telling stories about Kirk and Spock in the 21st century, I thought, oh my God, I told Gene they would be, and they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would he have thought, right?
He used to say that a lot. He would say that at the end of some of his speeches that he gave, that, someday they'll come back and make Star Trek, and they'll probably do it better than I did. But, no.
He was humble.
Better's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
We can handle all the pleasantries later. Now, let's get down to business.
I am willing to pay handsomely for you. I think you've had a little too much to drink.
Now, what do you know about my money?
Your money?
The money he stole!
You stole his money?
Those vouchers I gave you were every bit as good as Latinum.
You can spend Latinum almost anywhere. Those vouchers are only good at your bar.
As always, we want to thank everyone who supports the show on patreon.com/humanisttrack. A special thanks to our founding admirals at the highest levels. A thank you to Allie, Peter, Sarah D, Bruce, the Bear and Currid podcast, and some call him Tim. Thank you all so much for supporting our silly little show.
Thank you, patrons. We really appreciate your support.
Captain, Starfleet Academy is requesting an update on our estimated arrival.
Finalists, please take your seats.
I must admit you have a very fast mind. Once I realized it was a trick question, there was only one answer.
Although only one student will be chosen for the Academy, any of you could easily qualify. Candidates, good luck.
You got called to the superintendent's office. It's a story I'd like to hear.
Becca's back now with the answer to this week's Starfleet Academy Cadet Challenge question for Ménage a Troi. And I think I know part of the answer now because she suggested that we reach out to Susan. Remind everybody, though, what the question was.
Who wrote this episode, and what reason did the director have to be nervous during filming?
Oh, I know.
Now, obviously, we know now that it's Fred and Susan, but what did we guess? See, we don't look any of this up before we start. We just
didn't really have a guess for why the director would have been nervous, but your writer guess was very wrong.
Really?
The Admiral is definitely incorrect.
You guessed DC Fontana.
Why? Well, I don't know. That's the only name that came to my mind, I guess.
Did we both say that? Oh my goodness.
You both said that.
We're so wrong.
Okay, well, that part was wrong. But the question of why it made the director kind of uncomfortable, what's that?
All right, well, the answer that I have...
Oh, wait, Fred knows.
Fred knows.
Go, Fred.
Okay. It was his first time directing. He was our special effects guy. And they let him direct an episode. And we were lucky enough. I thought he did a great job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I got it right?
All right, well, that
else did you find?
may have been true, but the meat and potatoes was, this is what I found on the internet, so please correct me if the internet is wrong, because we know that sometimes it is.
Oh, wait, I have another answer.
You get another guess, Fred.
Because there was nudity.
Oh, that's
that would have been a good answer, too.
But the other answer is the real answer. What do you have, Becca?
I have... Director Robert Legato told the official Star Trek The Next Generation magazine that the script was written by Gene Roddenberry's secretary, Susan Sackett, along with her writing partner, Fred Bronson, and the episode starred Gene's wife, Majel Barrett, so they were all on the set all the time. He said it made him nervous, but everyone was nice and supportive.
So this is like, because Gene's wife is on set, Gene was on set a lot. And he was just like nervous because of that.
He was nervous. He was nervous because of the different things that were happening.
I can add to that.
There you go.
And I don't know. Susan, maybe you'll remember this. I don't know. We took Gene to lunch before we pitched to Michael Piller. Long story short, season 2, when Susan and I first teamed up, we went to Gene and he said, pitch to me, even though he was not taking pitches from anyone. That was the producer's job. He said, pitch to me. And that's a whole other story. Season 3, we said, okay, we know we're pitching to Michael Piller, but let's go to lunch and we'll tell you our 12 ideas. And if you hate any of them, we won't bring that 1 or 2 or 12 to Michael Piller. And at that lunch, our 12th pitch was what we were then calling the Ransom of Mrs. Troi. And we discussed the fact, would Majel do a script written by Susan and me? And Gene said, she's an actress. You give her a good script and she'll do it.
Ah, yes.
But the truth is, Susan and I were both on the set. Gene, writers were not welcome, especially freelance writers were not welcome on the set. I always thought it was because they were afraid you would say, that's not what I meant. So
right. And they often do.
Yeah. But Susan and I, Gene said you guys can be on the set every day. So we were.
Oh, good.
All right. Thanks, Becca.
Okay.
Bye, Becca.
Yeah. Thank you, Becca.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you both for doing this.
Thank you so much for doing this.
This has been quite a treat. And once again, before we go, you can learn more about Susan at InsideTrek.com. We'll have links to both that and her eBay store in the show notes of this episode, as well as FredBronson.com. And you'll be able to find Fred's books in our As Heard on Humanist Trek section of HumanistTrek.com. Thank you again both so much for joining us today.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye, Sarah. Bye, Allie.
Next time on Humanist Trek, we'll discuss Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 25, Transfigurations. The Enterprise rescues a mysterious humanoid whose remarkable powers affect the entire crew. do you remember about this one?
Nothing.
I remember that this is a race of people who, when they go through this transfiguration, normally they're like put to death or sent away or something. They have never been allowed to go through the process. And so they think that it's this terminal illness that's going to kill you or something like that. But what it really is you just transform into another type of being. Remember the dude turns all glowy yellow on the bridge?
You like ascend. I
Yeah.
think. Okay. I think this sounds familiar. Who do you remember the actor or was it a woman or a man?
It's a man. I don't remember. What's our question for transfigurations?
In this episode, we see Dr. Crusher being assisted by Nurse Temple. Where is the name Temple from?
Nurse Temple.
Nurse Temple.
It is like a nurse chapel, a religious building.
Yeah.
It's the best thing I've got.
Is she related to Nurse Chapel? Nurse Temple.
There's Nurse Temple. There's Nurse Mosque. There's Nurse. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Thank you.
We're an association game.
If I can't be right, I can be funny.
Where did the name come from? Maybe it was a play on the Nurse Chapel. Chapel, temple.
All right. And if you want to take a guess, you can head out to your social media, share this episode with your answer in the hashtag Starfleet Challenge. We'll pick out a winner. And next time, we'll discuss Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 25, Transfigurations.
It's a good day to die.
Beverly.
Humanist Trek is available wherever you replicate your podcasts. Follow us on all the social medias at Humanist Trek. Become a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Trek. Open hailing frequencies to podcast@humanisttrek.com and visit our website, humanisttrek.com. Humanist Trek is a production of Sarah Austin Media.